Hey, my name is Justin Ramos. I'm a student of Ministry 181, which is Relationship and Ethics in Ministry. This is my final presentation. The course talks about the different relationships that surround a minister or a pastor. The course starts with the right heart in the ministry. We all know that ministry is not easy. So what does it take to be a pastor? And that's most especially having the right heart. One of the core values of a leader is intimacy with God. And we would be left by different people. We would have different heartaches and disappointments. But if we are connected with God, then we would probably bear it even more, even better. Being a pro at ministry also talks about that in very first part of the course, which pretty much means being a servant to everyone. That's one of the values that we neglect nowadays, which is being a servant of all. The course after that tackles marriages and family. Family is very important to a minister. It is not only important to ministers, but even to every other person. It is important that we have to give our complete and undivided attention to our family when we are with them. Family will always be our first ministry. Compassion to the lost as well is the driving force of a minister of the gospel. It is what makes evangelism possible. Without having a heart for the unsaved, it's pretty much impossible to have a heart for evangelism. This course also taps into the more sensitive topics such as avoiding close relationships with the other gender. So if you're a man, you have to avoid being in close contact with a woman or at least in a secluded area or room. And of course, that applies as well if you're a woman. Any minister can totally say that they are not immune to sexual temptations. So this should not be taken lightly. We have to make sure that we are not caught up in that situation. The course then takes to the powerful value of a minister, which is the heart to serve. To become a follower of Christ means that we have to have a servant mentality, which we all know that Jesus came to serve and not to be served. And so every single one of us have to have the same heart. Your church, our church, should be a beacon of hope to the community around us, especially in hard crises and natural disasters. These events are excellent opportunities to share the love of God. Later, the course brings us to a question and answer type of videos where Scott Ray, amazing teacher, answers controversial questions on topics such as homosexuality, abortion, and same-sex marriages. This is important for the church, us ministers, to have a clear stand on such topics, or else we would begin to compromise our basic spiritual foundations. Having the right moral standards that will not be compromised, even as culture and trends, being a salt and light in this earth, which Jesus commands us in Matthew chapter 6, entails us to preserve foundational Christian standards. And this includes completely denying abortion and immorality. In the later part of the course, it takes us to how ministers who stumbled in immorality should be restored and totally not be cut off. We're so easy to disown our brothers and sisters who have fallen short. Ministers are not superhuman beings, and they are also made of flesh, and they have the possibility to stumble and fall short. Lastly, the course also brings us into the topic of depression. Believe it or not, even Charles Maddon Spurgeon, the powerful preacher of the gospel, also struggled with this issue. It is not a surprise that ministers battle through sadness and depression any given day. Our ministry's accomplishments may vary from one ministry to another. Depression may come by comparing the success of one's ministry to our own, which is never really helpful. our affirmation and source of strength can only come by connecting consistently with the great vine who is Jesus himself, by meditating on his great and unconditional love for us. Once more, this is Justin Ramos, a student of Ministry 181, Relationship and Ethics in Ministry. Thank you. God bless.